Hello friends, welcome to today's lesson. This is Sewas, and obviously you know we are doing religious and moral education. Last week we discussed Christian religious practices, and this week we are going to discuss Islamic religious practices. Now, just as Christians worship, Muslims also worship. They have a way of venerating their object of worship. And so, let's look at worship in Islam. Now, worship in Islam is based on ibadat, which in bracket means the worship of Allah and service to humanity or mankind, which is known as the muamalat. Now, Islamic religious practices are derived from the Quran and the Hadith. We know the Quran to be the holy book of Muslims, and we know the Hadith to be the practices of the Prophet, the book that contains the practices of the Prophet Muhammad. Now, the five pillars of Islam. Now, these are the tenets of Islam. Every Muslim believes in the five pillars of Islam. If you don't have these beliefs, that means you're not a good Muslim. So let's look at what is in the five pillars of Islam. And these are called the tenets of Ibadat. Already we've said that Ibadat is the worship of Allah. So how do Muslims worship Allah? What guides a Muslim in the worship of Allah? So let's look at the five pillars of Islam. In the worship of Allah, a Muslim must adhere to the five pillars of Islam, or five pillars on which Islam rests. Now, these pillars are normally called the tenets of Ibadat. So, if you see this in objectives, the tenets of Ibadat are the same as the five pillars of Islam. And the way they've been arranged, the first is first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. So, in exam, if you are asked to mention the five, the first pillar of Islam, that is the Kalima to Shahada. So I've arranged them in order for you. So let's look at the first one. So the first one is the Kalima to Shahada, which is the declaration of faith in Islam. Then we have the Salat, that's a ritual prayer. We have the Zakat, which is the almsgiving. We have the Psalm, which is a fasting during Ramadan. We have Hajj, which is an annual pilgrimage to Mecca. Let's proceed to the second slide. And here we will see the explanations of the five pillars of Islam. So the first one we said is the Kalima to Shahada. So this is the first pillar of Islam. Now the Shahada, the word Shahada is an Arabic word meaning testimony. So as the first pillar of Islam, a Muslim must publicly declare and testify that there is only one God, that is Allah, and Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Now this is a pillar of faith in Islam. These words are whispered into the right ear of the child by his or her father. It is also known that these are the words that a Muslim must try to recite before death. Now let's go to the second pillar of Islam. We have the Salat. Now this is basically about prayer. It prescribes the conditions, the procedure, times of worship. Now, the Salat entreats Muslims to pray 5 times daily from dawn to dusk. That is from, let's say, morning to evening. This enables a Muslim to flee from unrighteousness for the sake of Allah. Because in our daily interaction with people, even the way we talk can make us sin. So a Muslim is supposed to pray 5 times daily. So as the Muslim continues to sin, maybe through the fault of others, of course, he is purified through the daily prayers. So they are fine. Now we come to the almsgiving, which is zakat. This pillar teaches Muslims to support the poor and the needy in the society with alms. This act of charity is meant to purify the hearts and minds of Muslims from greed and selfishness. So those who have are supposed to give to those who don't have. In certain areas, people can even in their wealth, they can give a portion of their wealth to charity. Muslims are good at giving. Now we have the fourth pillar of Islam, which is the Sawm. This is the 29 to 30 days fasting, which is observed by Muslims on the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, which is Ramadan. Muslims are taught to abstain from food, water, evil thoughts, sexual intercourse from dawn to dusk. And normally people would think that the Ramadan is a pillar of Islam. Ramadan is a month, it's the ninth month on which Muslims will fast. But the fasting itself is what? The song. Let's continue. Now, the last pillar, which is the Hajj. Now, the Hajj refers to the annual pilgrimage of Muslims to Mecca, the home of Islam, at least once in their lifetimes. The pilgrimage is undertaken during the last month on the Islamic calendar, which is Dhul Hijjah. It allows, that is Dhul Hijjah, December, in the Christian calendar. It allows Muslims to visit the holiest site of Islam and also to perform very important rituals, such as the Ihram, such as the Tawaf, such as the Sayah, such as the visit to Muzdalifah, and then we have a visit to Mount Arafat and the rest. We will come to that later. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars of Islam. 5 pillars are so important. Now, every Muslim must adhere to the 5 pillars of Islam because these are the pillars on which Islam rests. So let's continue with the worship. Now, we bring our focus to Islamic worship. There are certain technicalities I want you to know so that if you meet any of these in any of the objectives, you'll be able to solve them. Worship, as defined earlier, refers to showing of reverence and respect, admiration, and adoration to Allah according to the Muslim. Now, Muslims worship daily in their various homes or even open places. So for a Muslim, he doesn't need to walk maybe 300 kilometers to go to his own mosque to pray. When it's time for a Muslim to pray, the Muslim can just enter into any nearby mosque, and after ablution, the Muslim can pray. Just as maybe the Muslim may be on a journey and may not have access to, that is, a nearby mosque, the Muslim can just go to any open space and with just a mat, and after ablution, the Muslim is good to pray. Okay. So let's continue. Now, however, on Fridays, Muslims congregate in the mosque for the Jumu'ah prayers. Jumu'ah prayers happen to be the Friday congregational prayers. That's the Jumu'ah prayers. Now, before Muslims go to worship, there is a call to prayer called the Azan, which is performed by the Muezzin. So, let me use the shouts that we hear from the mosque from time to time. Please, it is not noise making. It is summoning Muslims that it is time for them to come and pray. And the call to prayer is what is called the Azan. And the person who calls Muslims to pray is the Muezzin. Now, it is known that the first Muezzin of Islam was called Bilal. Islamic worship is also preceded by washing the exposed part of the body, and this is called ablution. So Muslims rid themselves of filth before they go to pray, and that is called ablution or the wuzu. Now let's continue. Congregational worship or prayer is led by an imam. Now, an imam should be somebody who knows more about, that is, Muslims' way of life, Muslims' teachings, to be able to lead the prayer. So the imam may lead the prayer in the mosque, or the imam may lead maybe a prayer of 2 or 3 friends. Normally someone steps in front as the imam and the person commands them and takes them through the process of prayer. In the mosque, males stand in front, separated from the females at the back by a curtain or a wall. The female cannot lead a prayer which involves both sexes. Males have that honor. So in the mosque, you will not see a female leading or a female serving as imam for both sexes. But a man will do this. But if it involves only females, that is fine. But when both sexes are praying, the man is supposed to take charge. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Now here, let me look at the activities which are involved in Islamic worship? What counts in Islamic worship? Let's look at the first one. The first one, obviously, is a call to prayer by the muezzin. So we have discussed that before Muslims pray, there must be a call to prayer. Now, that call to prayer we said is called azan, and the person who calls them to pray is a muezzin. Now, two, performance of ablution or wudu, the same thing. Before a Muslim enters the mosque or before a Muslim goes to pray, a Muslim must first perform ablution or wudu. Then, the third point, congregational prayers led by the Imam. Then, recitation of Quranic verses. So normally, when you see 2 or 3 Muslims gathered at a place, if they are not praying, they are not discussing social issues, they will be reciting Quranic verses. Now, we all know that the Quran, which is the holy book of Muslims, has 114 surah or chapters. So, a Muslim who is able to commit everything from the Quran into memory is given the title Hafiz. Yes. So, if you are able to commit the first to the last chapter, so the first chapter of the Quran, which is the Al-Fatiha, and the last chapter of the Quran, which is the Al-Nas, into memory, you get the title Hafiz. I wish I could do that one day. Now, they also preach during Friday worship, and this preaching during Friday worship is what is called a khutbah. Then, Muslims face the Kaaba when praying. In Ghana, we see them facing the east because they see the Kaaba in the east. When you go to a country where the Kaaba is seen maybe in the west, it doesn't mean they will face the east again. They must always face the Kaaba when praying. And the Kaaba, we know, is in Saudi Arabia, so they face the direction of the Kaaba. Saudi Arabia, precisely in Mecca. Okay, now since we are talking about prayers, let's look at the 5 daily compulsory prayers. There are times in the rakats. So the rakats happen to be the practices in each prayer. Yes. So these are the 5 daily compulsory prayers. We have the Fajr, the Zuhr, the Asr, the Maghrib, and the Isha. So let's take them one after the other and look at the times. If you look at the Fajr, the first one, that's the dawn prayer, is observed from 5 o'clock a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Now here, the time is of essence. Now, 5 o'clock a.m. to 5:30 a.m., it's not the duration that they pray, but within this time, a Muslim can perform the Fajr. It doesn't mean when you go to pray a 2 rakat prayer, be there till the time is consumed. No, you can pray between or within that time. So that is the Fajr. The Zuhr, that's the midday prayer. It is observed between 12:30 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. and it's a 4 rakat prayer. Then the Asr, which is the 3rd daily compulsory prayer, is performed during the late afternoon and it is between 3 to 5 o'clock p.m. Then we have the Maghrib, that is a sunset or evening prayer which is observed between 6 p.m. to 6:30 and it's a 3 rakat prayer. Then finally, we have the Isha, which is a night prayer which is observed from 7 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. and then there is a 4 rakat prayer. Yes. So, learners, because of the technicalities involved in this, I don't want to add more to this. We will continue this lesson next week. And so read ahead. So because you are dealing with prayers, next week you may be lucky to see maybe types of prayers which are offered by Muslims. Then you also see the preparation or the cleaning of the body or the purification of the body before Muslims go to pray. So we're looking at ablution, how it is performed, the significance, things which spoil ablution, and the rest. So thank you for being part of this lesson. And may Allah bless you. Bye bye.